Beyond the Waves is a Hail Hail Media production. It may contain sweary words, and adult situations may be discussed. If you're in the company of underage temps, turn up the show now and listen back later. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, email us at beyondthewaves67@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter at BTW Celtic Show, or you can join our group on Facebook at Beyond the Waves. Hail, hail, and keep the faith.
Cheers. Cheers.
This next song's about a daily record in the sun. Shite. Thugs and thieves. Sorry, it's no, it's a song called Maggie Thatcher. Boo! Ice cream and jelly.
Welcome to the Beyond the Waves Celtic Football Show. My name is Graham Wilson, and we are coming to you live after Celtic Football Club raises the league title for the league trophy, for the 44th time. 44 honest titles. Actually, we could probably supplement that with overcoming bias, bigotry, and obviously all the cards stacked against us. And once again, the club shines. Scott Brown had some comments after the game, which I absolutely loved, mentioning that the boys had something to prove this week, which they did, and they put themselves in a position where they had something to prove on the heels of the performances the past several weeks, and they really did come through. No question about it. Resounding win today, 4-0, capped off by just a fantastic header there from Frazier. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. Seriously, I'm going to take video of that and show kids just how clinical of a finisher you can become from a corner. I mean, he attacked that ball with just relentless vigor. I think maybe he felt guilty about getting Lustig a yellow card by being a complete and utter prick. But so it goes. That's par for the course in Scottish football. If you are wearing the kit with green and white hoops, you tend to get a yellow card for just about anything, including getting elbowed in the face and punched in the chest. That's sort of just the way it goes. You might have noticed we had a bit of a different opening song there. I'm just sort of thinking maybe it's time for a bit of a change, maybe shake it up a bit. Let me know what your thoughts are, if you have any suggestions or anything like that. Joining us as always from Perth Amboy, New Jersey, it is the Rev. Hail, Rev.
Champions!
Very nice. Nicely handled there, sir. Did you have an opportunity to wake up and watch the last game played at Paradise this season? Did you see the game this morning?
I did. I woke up too early. I woke up at 6:30, then 6:45, and I just couldn't fall back asleep. And then I kind of dozed off for a minute, and I woke up, and by the time I got the game going, I missed Ledley's goal, but I saw the rest, and it was worth getting up this morning, definitely. Very nice, very nice. Made some serious amends for, like I mentioned, the performances of the past several weeks. I don't want to really dwell too much on that, and anything more than adding to the context of today. I think that it does play a certain context. Obviously, there was some unease, some uncertainty coming into not just this game, but obviously we have a massive game in 2 weeks' time against Tibbs at Hampden, which, let's be honest, is not our favorite place to play, if the results are any indicator. But I feel much, much better after the performance today. I mean, obviously, this needs to continue. It needs to be consistent. But you saw on many different levels players coming out with a lot of energy, enthusiasm. They wanted it. They were hungry. I haven't seen Gary Hooper run that fast since he was late for the connecting flight to Qatar to Dubai rather. So he was up for it today. Obviously, it's in the back of his mind. I'm sure that this was potentially and very likely his last game playing in a Celtic jersey at Celtic Park. So fair play to him, wanting to come out and give the fans something and go out on a high, if you will, in front of these home fans. He was very active, making runs, setting up angles, opening up space, and obviously the partnership between him and Anthony Stokes was in full display today. I thought Stokesy was excellent in spite of, yes, he did get credit for the second goal. That is official, but, obviously that was
due in large part to the good work that Charlie Mulgrew had from that free kick. Stokesy got a touch on it to deflect it into the net. Not that I would think that it would need it, but anyway, Stokesy, striker to the end, greedy, wants all of the plaudits, and fair enough to him, but he did a lot of great work dragging defenders around. This is more of what I like to see. Putting the opposing defenders on their heels, really, moving around constantly, keeping them guessing. James Forrest into the lineup once again, and we've talked about this for the past several weeks through this bit of a dry spell. His presence has been severely lacked, not just in sort of the poor performances of late, but throughout the season. I mean, he's been in and out of the lineup, and when he's in the lineup and when he's on form as he was today and when he's fit, he just adds something completely different to the side, especially given the fact that we don't have any other wingers. Let's be honest, we had a bit of a debate or discussion, I guess, in the pub today at the DCCSC. Okay, it was just Kenny and I talking pish as usual, but the conversation was, well, I mean, who would you rather have in there, Commons or Jamesy? Obviously, Commons out of the lineup today because he was a bit under the weather, but my take on it was that I'd prefer Jamesy, for the simple fact that he gives you that pace down the flank that Chris Commons just doesn't have. I'm not so confident that Chris Commons running onto a ball is going to have the pace to be able to get by a man that James Forrest has, and that just it sets up such an alternative. It keeps the defenders on their toes and stretches defenders. I think James Forrest cutting in from wide is much more dangerous. Don't get me wrong, Chris Commons, fantastic technique, great with a ball at his feet and a rocket shot, no question about it, but he's much better sort of centrally facilitating that link up through the middle. James Forrest provides that wide angle, but can also cut in and has some power on his shot as well. He looked hungry today. He looked like he wanted to score goals in bunches, and I was happy to see that he did get his goal from a lovely pass from Gary Hooper, perfectly weighted. James Forrest just needed to just crush the back of the net with one touch, which he did clinically, and great to see him back. Hopefully he doesn't tear a hamstring. At some point over the next couple of weeks, because it just seems as though the simplest of tweaks or extensions, and he finds himself back on the bench. Having him at Hampden in 2 weeks' time is going to be absolutely momentous. So fingers crossed we can keep him fit. I would wrap him in bubble wrap, Neil Lennon. Just encase him in pillow and don't let him out of your sight. Neil Lennon, let's talk about this. I mean, obviously there was a lot of talk, a lot of speculation this week with the resignation of Alex Ferguson. It seemed as though the Earth's axis came off tilt by 3 degrees. Everything went out of whack. I mean, they're planning a state funeral, even though he's not died. But obviously David Moyes announced as his successor. No surprises on my end. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I think that's a fantastic pick. In the context of Celtic, though, that leaves a vacancy at Everton, and almost immediately there was discussion about Neil Lennon going to Everton. That's all I'm really going to say about it, unless, obviously the Skype lines are open. Please call. Let us know what you're thinking today. Another trophy, another championship, and just a fantastic feeling. But Neil Lennon today, getting back on topic, I think was much more tactically sharp, much more tactically in tune. I think that was really where his interest was in terms of putting out a great performance on the day that we know we're going to raise the trophy. Having, in my opinion, that's his strongest starting 11 at the moment. Charlie Mulgrew back at center half. Geez, who would have thought? But he was fantastic today. Obviously, Victor Wanyama is not going to be available in 2 weeks' time, so perhaps we'll see the reintroduction of F. Ambrose at the back, and then, of course, moving Charlie Mulgrew back into the midfield, something that I'm not a huge fan of, something that I feel is a liability. But on the day today, lopsided 4-4-2, an oldie, but a goodie. Sort of an old faithful, if you will. Really where Neil Lennon found his early success and feat. With that lopsided 4-4-2. This time, James Forrest cutting in from the right. Scott Brown coming back into the starting 11 today, and he was absolutely everywhere. It was fantastic to see. I thought his first touch was excellent for a player that hasn't played in months. Obviously running around with a chicken with its head cut off, as he typically does, but it was great to see, not just how fresh he was. I mean, I expected that, but to see how sharp he was from a match fitness context, and great to see. Really, I think it lifted the energy level of everybody on the park. No question about it. There really can't be any arguments as to if he is or whether he is the true captain of this team it's undeniable what he brings when he's in the starting 11. Wanyama, Ledley, obviously cracking goal to open things up. And the back four was steady as she goes. So I was delighted with the performance. Fraser Forster, nothing to do. Once again, he was back there with the lawn chair. Player of the year by the fans and the club themselves. Rev, thoughts generally? Specifically on the heels of. I mean, last week obviously that was it was very difficult to watch. The week prior to that, certainly no different. What stood out to you about today's performance specifically?
All right, real quick before we get into that, I want to touch on the Fergie thing real quick because
touch away.
We had Parrott last week going on about Lennon might be in the off after the season, and we're thinking that's insane. And then all of a sudden, as the week goes on, we see the stuff with Fergie leaving, Moyes going, and then Lennon possibly linked to Everton. So, not saying it's definitely going to happen, but that's just pretty funny there. Also, wanted to throw out that I heard United fans are asking for a refund or a discount rather on their season tickets next year because all their games are going to be 10 minutes less.
Well, they should get a discount from British Rail because obviously it's a long trip up from London, so maybe they should tap them up as well. Look, all of these Man United supporters, I mean, I'm not going to speak in broad generalizations or with broad strokes, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this. Obviously, it's a huge story, and it affects football in general, and it may have ramifications for Celtic. We have plenty of time to get into this over the next couple of weeks. I want to try and focus as much as I possibly can on the championship today, but to round up that thought, it just is so apparent how many people who support that club have absolutely no idea what they're talking about when it comes to football. Yes, I just said that. And plenty of people think that I talk pish, whatever. The idea that David Moyes is going to come in and not have any influence or any support or any guidance from Alex Ferguson over the next year or 2 years or several years is absolutely asinine. What David Moyes has done at Everton has been nothing short of Herculean, considering the lack of funds that he's had. Any other manager, in my opinion, wouldn't have been able to stave off relegation for that club. And David Moyes has consistently had them in the top 10, competing for European spots. And for me, I think he embodies everything that Manchester United is going to need in order to continue to be successful. Stability, a man management, that Alex Ferguson is just unparalleled with, and he's going to continue to grow under, I believe, Sir Alex Ferguson's tutelage. Make no mistake, Alex Ferguson under that tent, under that roof, is not going to just sit there with his pipe and his slippers and just sort of be passive. Absolutely not. He's going to have an extreme amount of influence on that club, and specifically in guiding David Moyes. So 5 years from now, all these United supporters that are bitching and moaning about this selection, saying that they want a Mourinho, will completely forget about it, and Moyes will be a legend. Full stop. No question about it. But like I said, I want to talk about today. There's a lot of external issues. I also want to give a shout out to Paul Larkin. He wrote a blog this morning, thefrontofthebus.blogspot.com. Check it out. You can find him on Twitter as well at PaulLarkin74. But he had a fantastic blog this morning, and he and I had a chat yesterday, just obviously about all the things that we're sort of referring to. So much going on, so much turmoil, and a lot of debate within the support. And his point in his blog and his point in talking with me was he made it through he was there every game in the 90s, when Rangers were going through their 9 in a row, cheating their asses off, spending more than they had. And he, at that time, didn't think that days like this were ever going to happen again. And I had my eyes open in this conversation with him, and I tend to agree that there may be a desensitization, if that's even a word, to winning these titles. Especially for the younger people and for people like myself and yourself, where we came to Celtic a bit late. We weren't there in those barren times in the 90s when it was just so dark. When it wasn't even sure if the club was even going to exist, let alone compete and win championships once again. So I don't want to take today for granted. I don't want to take the title for granted. Let's be appreciative. Let's focus on today. We have plenty of time in the coming weeks to talk about what may happen with Neil Lennon, what may happen with the front office, what may happen with certain players. Today, it's all about the title. Raised the trophy once again. This is 2 in a row, on our way to 10 in a row. No matter who's the manager, just extremely positive things, to look forward to in the future. And it was really highlighted by the performance today. Get in touch. Add us as a contact on Skype at Beyond the Waves, all one word. And we want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts. Were you at the game? What was the atmosphere like? It looked absolutely phenomenal on television. I wish I was there, although it looks absolutely freezing. Finally, the temperature got into the 70s here on the east coast of the U.S., starting to feel more and more like spring. Things are starting to get a bit more green, which is my favorite color. That would be, I guess, the mid-20s for those of you Celsius fans out there. Yeah, and opened the show today with the Quadrophenians. Little Quadrophenians coming at you, a little 67, in the 8 of Lisbon.
Let me ask you this, because I know how I feel, as an American sports fan. Do you think that there's a bit of a loss of the energy? It's a little anticlimactic, winning the league on one day. They had, the celebrations and stuff, but then waiting another 3-4 weeks or however it pans out each year to actually lifting the trophy. Do you think that kind of kills it a little bit?
Oh, it definitely does. It definitely does. I mean, how could it not? It's a foregone conclusion. You go into the game today knowing you're going to get the trophy at the end. I mean, first off, it eliminates, not as though there would even be such a desire or need these days, but it eliminates the capacity to have like a helicopter Saturday or helicopter Sunday or whatever. And that was so amazing. I remember from 2008, at Tannadice where, the helicopters turn around and, there's just so much drama with that. And to win the league, not just, win the league and then get the trophy later, but win the league like a month ago and then have to wait and just sort of slog through these soulless performances. And it's just like, what the fuck, and me as a fan, and I'm sure that other fans feel this way, for us to have that sort of anticlimactic aspect, it has to carry over to the players as well. Not that they shouldn't be motivated and they shouldn't go out and try and put on a performance each and every week, but it's certainly going to be different than if they were coming out today knowing that they needed a win in order to win the league. There would be a different energy level. There would be a different mentality. And fair play to Neil Lennon and the players for sort of foregoing a lot of that that aloof mentality, that sort of mist that's come over the side, sort of indifference, and coming out and having an inspired performance today. In the face of sort of the anticlimactic aspect of it, it's great to have a trophy. It's great to raise it up or whatever, but you want to do it with some class. And fair play to them for coming out and, as I mentioned, every player in the park today, in my opinion, busted a gut. And Michael Lustig even got his guts busted by Fraser Wright. Before, what a fantastic finish by Fraser right there at the end. Maybe he forgot what team he was playing for, or maybe he thought it was a corner for St. Johnson. Not exactly.
He wanted to get in on the celebrating. He's like, I want to win a trophy one time. How's this feel? He wanted to get in on the scoring with everybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe he wants to get his name in the paper, which he definitely does. He's in there in the match report. Yellow card, own goal. Fantastic. Fraser, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. You are the Big G does the Muppet of the Week. Hey, Big G, by the way, Celtic Dream Show, typically on Friday nights. Happy birthday to him. It's his birthday today, so hopefully he's enjoying his day. Fantastic stuff. You can obviously catch them on Spreaker live on Friday nights. It's a good time. He takes calls, and it's just it's nonsense, but it's absolutely phenomenal. So now we need to obviously turn our attention towards the Scottish Cup, and please get in touch. Skype lines are wide open. We want to hear from all of you. What are your thoughts? Please jump in here, interrupt me, and the Rev. Rev, you get him started, and he never stops talking. So, see, it exemplifies everything there. We touched on this a little bit over the past several weeks, but one thing that struck me in a lot of the tweets today was, folks saying that it's the last time that they were going to be in the seat that they've been in for 10, 15, 18 years. You know, they're going to be relocated next season and so on and so forth. Yeah, I feel bad, you know, that's happening. I'm sympathetic to that. You get into a rhythm, you get into a sort of comfort zone, and especially, you know, getting comfortable with sitting around the same people all the time. And now, you know, it's just completely uncertain as to where they're going to stick you and who you're going to be around. You know, I'm mixed on it, you know, because I think that, you know, for the greater good, I think that it does make sense and it might be beneficial. But for, you know, those people who are sitting in you know, Lisbon Lions upper, that they don't want to hear that. You know, that their experience is completely, you know, it's completely shifted because of this. I know we talked about this a little bit. What are your thoughts on that, though, Rev? I mean, what if, like, you know, let's say Red Bull Arena could sell out. Oh, I kid Red Bull Arena, but you know,
Dick.
but what if you know, Red Bull came in and said, you know, right, you need to move from where you're sitting now because we want to condense everything, and you're going to be sitting next to people, you know, random people, so you can't sit next to or stand next to the people that you've been with for years and years. I mean, you know, that just sucks. Hello. Oh, I cut the I cut the rev off. Jerry, hang on 1 second. We're joined now by Jerry McMahon, and I apparently I've forgotten how to use Skype. Let me get the rev back. He's probably sitting there like, yeah, we were talking Red Bull, and then you hang up on me. Let me get this sorted out, pal. If I can even find him. Absolute nightmare. Is he there?
How are you, Graham?
Jerry, how are you? Thanks so much for calling in, pal. Were you at the game today?
Yes, I was.
Give us a sense for what the atmosphere was like.
Well, you know, I mean, I've commented in the show before, Graham, that sometimes I think we do suffer from having a big opponent breathing down our neck. In terms of, I think it's always good to have tension in a football match, and in a lot of ways, the fact that we've been always going to win the SPL this year has had an impact. But I thought, you know, 55,000 there today, and I thought it was an excellent atmosphere.
I agree.
I mean, one thing that I thought was brilliant was the fact that they made the ticket 20 quid and a fiver for kids. And as I walked along today, considering it was, you know, wasn't the best of days, Graham, the number of young children that were there was just phenomenal, as many as I've seen before at a big occasion like that. And I can remember being taken along in 1971 for my first match, and you know, I was 10, and it just dawned on me that, you know, this strategy of keeping the tickets relatively cheap for kids, I think, is brilliant, because hopefully for, you know, loads of these young people that come here today, you know, when they're adults, they'll be paying the full price. And, you know, I think they're clearly gearing the future strategy to getting kids along there. And, you know, based on what I saw today, that was a good. And I thought it was noisy. And I thought, you know, the fact that we'd done another excellent performance at home, pretty much for most of the game, I thought made it a really good occasion, Graham. Just at a point on your Neil Lennon question there about, you know, whether he'll leave or not.
Sure.
One of my friends was at there was a wee kind of event last night in Lanarkshire. Mm-hmm. And Phil McGillivan was there, and Paul Brennan from Celtic Quick News blog. Right. And they were both of the opinion that if Lennon was asked by Everton to go, that he would go.
Yes. Yeah, no question.
Which is interesting. I mean, I'm not 100% convinced of that. I think he loves the Champions League. I think he loves everything about the club. But equally, I don't think anybody can deny the allure of the Premiership, the money that's there, the challenge. And, you know, that's an interesting one. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Graham. But yeah, today, a really, really good, enjoyable occasion. That's now my 10th championship that I've seen Celtic win, you know, inside a stadium. So, you know, since watching Celtic since 1971, you know, that was brilliant. And like Paul, I savour these occasions because I was there every season during the 9 in a row run for the Dead Club. So, always enjoy these occasions. I was up for it this morning when I woke up, and it's just been a very good day. So, great stuff.
Yeah, no question about it. Several great points that you touch on. And welcome back, Rev. Sorry about that.
It happens.
Say hello to Jerry, Rev.
How you doing?
Hi, Rev. Hail you.
Jerry, first off, I want to touch on the reduced ticket prices, and it's phenomenal that Celtic went ahead and did that, which, in my opinion, they had to do. There's a lot of discussion, and I talked about this in Celtic Dreams last night with Big G, the birthday boy. There's a lot of this praise being heaped on Peter Lowell and the PLC in general about, they didn't have to reduce ticket prices, but they did anyway. Actually, yes, they did. In a business sense, when you're talking about supply and demand, when you raise prices, as they did this season, in spite of the fact that there is no Rangers anymore because they're dead, and they're selling Club 12 tickets, 2 of them in addition. But so you essentially raise the price of your product, but you have a diminished sort of allure, if you will. I mean, let's be honest, not having a game against them is going to diminish the allure of those tickets. Now, we can argue all day long about, their death doesn't impact us. We have our eye, focused fully in front of us and Europe and et cetera. But in terms of the spectacle that you are paying for, to raise the cost and diminish the allure, of course, you are going to have a reduction in the number of season books. So when Peter Lowell wants to sit down with the affiliation or with the Celtic Trust or some of the fan bodies and complain about the lack of interest or the lack of season books being bought, I mean, it doesn't take a Cambridge economist. You don't need to be from MIT in order to figure out that, especially in an economically challenging time, as right now the entire world is facing, you're going to have a reduction. And the only way to remedy that is to bring the season book costs back down to where they were. So in my mind, this isn't, something that's and I get it. I'm very critical of Peter Lawwell, but looking at this objectively, this isn't them doing us a favor. This is a correction. He made a bad business decision last season by raising the season book prices, and now he is correcting that mistake and bringing it back to where it should have been in the first place. So I don't look at this as a reduction. I'm glad that they reduced the prices of these tickets from the last 2 home games, and I'm glad that we saw a commensurate increase in the attendance. And hopefully they take the lesson from that and they apply it into the future. Look at the German leagues. I mean, we've used this example countless times. Bayern Munich, one of the teams in the final, in the Champions League final, their president talks about, the supporters aren't cows that are to be milked. They're the lifeblood of the club. And that's like the ethos of Celtic itself. But, so often our own PLC doesn't treat us that way. They don't behave in a business sense that way. So hopefully they learn the lesson from these past 2 games, where when you reduce the season book prices and the ticket prices, especially as you mentioned for kids, you're going to have a higher turnout. You're going to have more participation, and that trickles down through everything. You're going to have more concessions being purchased. You're going to have more people visiting the shop, purchasing, all the little knickknacks that they want. Onesies are flying off the shelf. That's good business. Not raising the season book prices and then bitching about people not showing up. So I'm glad that I got that off my chest. In terms of...
Can I just comment on
Sure,
that?
Sure, please.
I mean, see, to be fair to Celtic, whatever you think of Lowell, I think it has been the case for a number of years now that the money that they've brought in from season ticket sales has gone straight back out the door in wages. And, the problem with reducing them last season is that, I think we would have ran at a considerable loss, and they probably, as we sold Key last season, but I think we might have had to hawk some of the bigger players around at the start of the season in order to make the books balance. And there has been a fair number of years, Graham, in the last 10 that I can think of where they've frozen season ticket prices because they know the economy's not in a good state. So, see, to be fair to them, You know, it's not we're not a club who's paying huge dividends to shareholders and neglecting the club. What we bring in, we try to spend. And I think, to be fair to Lowell, I think it's the fact that we had the terrific run in the Champions League has meant that we've got that revenue available, and that we can afford to cut the price of the season tickets and invest in the playing squad. So, I mean, I do sometimes agree with some of the criticism of Peter, but on that, I think you have to balance all of that up and say that if you cut the price too steeply, then that can affect the product in the park. And, you know, that's always a concern for me. And I think, you know, they've still to be congratulated for what they did for the season tickets next season. And I can only hope what we do is we maintain, you know, I think they said 42,000 renewed their season tickets last season. I would like to think we do that and get a little bit more. That would be terrific, Graham.
Yeah, Jerry, I see where you're coming from with this. I do. You know, in terms of we did have several players that we signed on improved contracts. We do have several players that are on, you know, for us are on relatively big wages, including Joe Ledley, and that's, you know, sort of still casting out there, you know, in terms of, are we going to re-sign him, or, you know, are we going to try and recoup something from him from you know, his sale, rather than keeping him until his contract runs out and not being able to re-sign him. So that there's all sorts of uncertainty on sort of the horizon with that from a financial standpoint. Where I would differ, well, let's reframe this. Let's take it from the perspective of, you know, this time last season. Obviously, there was a lot of turmoil throughout, you know, the entire league, a lot of uncertainty as to what the future makeup of the SPL itself was going to be. Peter Lowell made a bet. He bet that if And as I think the PLC does on a consistent basis, you know, they look at one of the biggest sort of intangible assets of this club to be the loyalty of the supporters. He looks at the loyalty of you know, just the common fan, and how, you know, when we are in economic strife as we are right now, and tough decisions need to be made, oftentimes many folks, you know, figure out ways to make it happen, you know, in terms of keeping their season book going, and in terms of, you know, making the tough choices, but figuring out a way to keep going out and supporting the club at Celtic Park and buying the kit and so on and so forth. He bet that he could raise the ticket prices and continue to have the number of season books sold. And it was a bad bet. He lost the bet, essentially. You know, in an economic principle, there is a breaking point, you know, where if you raise prices too high, people are just going to say, listen, I've made all sorts of sacrifices already, and now you want me to make more? I can't. I'm at my breaking point. And what we saw was a reduction in the volume of supporters coming out. And I will bet you dollars to donuts, the figures haven't been released, obviously, yet, from, you know, this full season to see what the effect was year on year. But I'm willing to bet that we probably, in terms of our ticket revenue being brought in, we probably were close to. I would say we were definitely not higher than the previous season. You know, I'm talking about this season, but I'll bet we were probably pretty close to the same amount of revenue, but we had fewer supporters coming through the doors. That's not what we need. You know, what my take on this is, and, you know, from economic models, you can actually recoup, if you want to use that word, or you can generate more revenue sometimes by reducing the cost of your goods, by simply making it more accessible to more people. So if you can reduce the cost, let's say you reduce the cost to, you know, I don't know, whatever, but you find that point, that magic number where you can get 50,000 people in. So all of a sudden you've sold 8,000 more season books. That recoups that reduction in the unit price. Do you see what I mean? So you can actually make more money by reducing the cost of the tickets and make it accessible to more people. That's what the Germans are doing. You know, they fill these Bundesliga stadiums with 77,000 people standing up. They're drinking beer. They're going nuts. You know, and it's always packed because it's like €10, you know, for a ticket. And I'm not saying, you know, let's drop the season book ticket prices down to €10. But, you know, when you're talking about £600, you know, for a season book for Celtic, when, again, you know, you don't have the now dead Rangers or Club 12 or whatever, that's tough.
Yeah. So, Graham, see, to be fair, I mean, the price was frozen this year. I think if it did go up for me, it was a couple of pounds. It was negligible. It was effectively frozen this year. And the other concern I have is we played Arbroath in the Scottish Cup earlier in the season, and we charged £12, which is the cheapest entry price for a match I can remember in some time. And something like 13,000 turned up. So it doesn't guarantee that if you cut the price, you'll necessarily get the payback. But let's agree with you 100%. I think it was spot on to cut the price of the season tickets, and I hope we get a return coming through the gates next year.
Jerry, I'm willing to bet more people will buy season books next year versus this year because it's more affordable, and we will generate more revenue. I'll bet you.
Yeah, well, the club suggested that 10,000 people had registered within the first few days when they announced the cut in the season ticket prices. Now, I'm assuming that's new customers there. So if that is in any way accurate or even half accurate, if we can get even 3,000 or 4,000 people buying season tickets, that's significant in terms of atmosphere. And it also blows this theory of Armageddon out of the water, which incidentally I thought today did. Do you know what I mean? Because I thought, look, it was just an incredible scene. Celtic Park, as you now know, Graham, having been there, I think it's still, for me, having been there probably 1,000 times over the years, to me, it still blows you away when you go inside and almost every seat's taken. The Green Brigade did an excellent display today.
No question.
Small league flags and banners and stuff.
Yep.
And it was brilliant. And personally, I've got a ticket for the cup final. So
good for you.
A brilliant end to the season. Haven't actually been, Graham, since we won the cup in 1995. Tommy Burns' first and only trophy. So
you're good luck.
A Scottish Cup final, so I can hardly wait for that, Graham.
Fantastic.
And listen, I'm going to pop off now because I'm off to a wedding reception.
Oh, lovely.
Just want to again say, in case I don't make it for the cup final, because I may go out afterwards, another brilliant season for us. But be new to Hail Media. A big thanks to you and the rest of the guys. I've not only listened to your show and enjoyed it time after time and participated, but I've checked out the Australian show, the Home Boys, the Lost Boys, and the fact that over 100,000 people, from what I can see, probably more than that, have tuned in, is a massive credit to you guys. So brilliant. Sorry I haven't been on for a wee while, but great to get on your show. I'll enjoy the rest of it before I go out.
Cheers.
And let's hope we have a brilliant end to the season. And great to meet you a few weeks back, Graham.
Yeah. It was great to catch up with you, and I'm hoping to get back over real soon, and be well, and that way we can get mad with it.
Brilliant, Graham. All the
Lovely.
best. So
cheers, Jerry.
Here's to Hampden, and obviously Tannadice quite a wee tasty one next week.
No question.
Be good to get a good win there, and I'm hoping we keep Pooper and Wanyama and some of the big players against all the odds. Big discussion with my best friend about that today. So you'll maybe touch on that in the rest of the show. But great result today. Fantastic to win the title. And as Neil Lennon said, 125 years of unbroken history. We should never, ever forget that, and we should always remind the Sevconians of that plain and simple fact. So all the best to you.
Cheers.
All the best to Rev. Hail, guys.
Hail, Jerry. Thanks so much for calling in.
Cheers. Bye.
All the best. That's Jerry McMahon getting in touch. He's the good luck charm. You heard him right there. Last cup final he was at, 1995. Tommy Burns, of course. His presence is definitely missed in these days when we're having discussions such as this and the club's relationship with supporters. That was a man who knew what the club meant to the supporters and what the club's obligation was to the supporters, and his presence is missed today and every day. One thing that I do, Jerry brings up some good points. He brings up the Arbroath game. For me personally, I can't compare an early round Scottish Cup or League Cup game where you reduce the season book prices on a Tuesday night. You reduce the season book prices or the the ticket price rather down to £12, and that is a good point. Only 12 to 15,000 people showed up for not just that game, but several other League Cup and Cup games. But when you can't compare that, you can't compare an early round league game midweek to a league game, which is what the season book entails. And keep in mind, the season book did not include many of those games. That was in addition to the season book. And I talked to a lot of people who talked about their season book price this season going up, especially for the kids. So it is something that was felt. It is something that did have an effect. And now, as I phrased it, it's being corrected, which is a good business decision to correct last season, which was a bad business decision, taking away the £50 kids ticket. Now we're now joined by a man I think can speak to this directly from his experience. We referred to him earlier. It's Big G from the Celtic Dream Show. Happy birthday, pal.
Cheers, mate. How you doing?
I've never had a bad day in my life, pal.
Do you know, I'm just phoning up. There's a couple of points. We had a rant last night, mate, but it was really good today. You mentioned Paul Larkin's blog this morning. I read it. And last night, there was 4 of us go to the game, but I ended up going myself. And I had a rant, and it was like the kids were... What Paul Larkin was talking about, basically, we're winning the league, won it last season, we'll probably win it this season. And I had a wee rant, and I was like, a wee go. I was like, you just didn't live through it. And what Paul was talking about, they didn't live through it, and I was like, see, these moments, these are part of history, and these are missing it. So I ended up going myself, but I did meet the parrot, and he did buy me a wee cup of tea before the game, so it was not too bad. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm so glad that you brought that up because, when I was talking to Paul yesterday, I'm not going to say I was of a sort of like indifferent mindset, but I'd be lying to you if I said that I was up for it as I should be, or up for it in the same way that yourself or maybe Jerry, who just called in, or certainly Paul were, with that sort of perspective. And Paul, was explaining many of the points that he laid out in his blog today, about those days when you didn't, it was constantly getting kicked by the Huns and never knowing if we were ever going to win another league again. And that really snapped my perspective back around, because I've come sort of to the club lately, and I've really been spoiled in a relative sense, and I think that I'm not alone in that, especially with the sort of younger kids, or maybe, the people who have come to the club as of late. But it's a really salient point what Paul brings up. We should not overlook these days and these opportunities to go and watch Celtic raise trophies.
No, I'm at loggerheads all the time with Rydell because he's wanting the best for Scottish football, and Club 12, we're missing him. And I'm at loggerheads. I say to him, you're young, pal, and it doesn't mean any harm. He just wants to see the best for Scottish football. But he didn't live through it when they had another club cheating their way to titles. And at the end of the day, Graham, it was getting rammed down your throat week in, week out on the media and things like that. So as I say, we're at loggerheads, but as I say, I thought Paul made an excellent blog this morning, and it's days like this, it's part of history, and I ended up going myself. So as I say, but just going back to the game, it was actually great to see our captain coming back.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we've had discussions about the attitude of the team. I thought Scott Brown went in there, and I don't know if Lennon was listening. That was last night, mate. 4-4-2.
Probably.
Scott Brown on the right hand side, playing the channels. Thought it was brilliant. Because that's what we discussed last night.
That's really his best position, in my opinion, and Charlie Mulgrew was playing his best position, and it showed.
Well, exactly. It was great just to see them coming back, but there's a point I want to make, and I hate bringing it up because I love the guy so much, and I would love to see him just getting that wee bit extra better. Is it Gary? I thought today he played well, but there were too many crosses coming in, and they were going astray and things like that. And I love the guy to bits because I know he loves Celtic, and if you ever look around, even when they do lap on him, he's always the last in. He always integrates with the fans and everything, and I love him to bits. But do you think he's Celtic class?
It's a discussion that we've had almost constantly since he went down with the injury. Where obviously he had that first, talking about Gary, that first season, player of the year. I mean, it's just lightning in a bottle. Who is this guy? Where did he come from? What an amazing find. And, obviously he goes through a horrific injury, takes quite a considerable amount of time to really come back from. Not just, be fit or be, I don't even mentally sharp. I mean, everybody recovers from that sort of thing differently. Everybody heals differently, and everybody has the same sort of rebuilding process mentally. And he's been off the boil, and it's been nice to see him come back and show some of that spark that he had from early days as of late. But to your point, I mean, his service at times, and let's be honest, even during the Player of the Year season, his service was absolutely atrocious. And I'd even make the argument that his service then was even worse than it is now. I believe his service has improved, but you're right. His service at times is severely lacking. I mean, he provides so much flair and so much spark going down that flank, especially when we're lacking width. He can really step in and provide that wide option. But when he can't put a ball, I mean it's almost consistent that he puts it into Rosette. Yes, he had a couple of very nice deliveries today, but when you see those balls going into Rosette, it's like, oh, here we go again, and then it just becomes an issue of then I start and I sort of start to get down on him, and then I start to think about okay, first off, is this any worse than he was before his injury? Or am I being more critical on him now because I know he was the Player of the Year, and now all of a sudden the expectations go up naturally, and they should. So I have a bit of an examination from that aspect. But then I start to think about, if we didn't have Izagiri, and even going back before Izagiri, I mean, we went a long time, looking for a competent, not just a good or serviceable left back, which I would consider Izagiri to be, but just a serviceable, just a playable left back for years. I mean, Telfer, Naylor had one good year, and then it was just sort of like, I mean, he was atrocious. Danny Fox, I mean, dread to think about it. Edson Brathhead, the fact that he was in a World Cup final is absolutely mind-boggling. But I mean, when you look at it from that perspective and you compare what we have with Izagiri right now, not just his potential when he first came in, but the player that he is now and the player that he has the potential to continue to be, or maybe even continue to develop into, I don't think he's all that bad. I take your point in terms of where his shortcomings are, and they're definitely valid. I see them with my own eyes, but I still think that he offers us more than he's sort of liable for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see it coming today. Out of the whole game, let's say 20 crosses, but maybe 10 of them went wide.
No, you're right. You're right.
And I would just love him to get that wee bit extra. And as I say, is because I think he is a gentleman, and I think he loves the club. He was offered to go on holiday, and he refused.
Yep.
He says, "No, I'm staying here to play."
I love that.
It was good to see that, and if he had to get that wee bit extra spark, I think he would be world class, to be honest with you.
No question about it. I mean, think about that summer, after he won the Player of the Year. I mean, and all of the transfers that it was rumored, he was being looked at by Manchester United and Liverpool and other clubs and et cetera. Obviously, that's not going to be the case right now, but there was certainly a lot of fanfare around him, and he has that in him. There is that player in him. It's just a matter of, are we ever going to get that out of him again? Hopefully we do. Fingers crossed. I mean, it may, looking at it from a positive standpoint, it may line us up to be able to maybe extend his contract for a little bit longer, have him for a longer amount of time, get that play. Because keep in mind, he's still a young player, so he's got some time to run, and it's before he gets really into his prime, and we may, by virtue of sort of this bump in the road, have him for a longer period of time and still be able to sell him further down the road, rather than being in a similar situation to what we're in right now with Gary Hooper, Victor Wanyama, and et cetera. It's a similar situation with Kyle, where he came in his first season, looked like lightning in a bottle. Now I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure what the situation is with his injury situation, and he, in spite of being a young player when he first came, I don't know if he's really matured as a player. He's still that yellow card waiting to happen. I don't want to see that aggression come out of him, because I think that in many senses that's his biggest positive. But knowing when to pull out of a tackle is a vital instinct, especially for a central midfielder, who's going to try and play that holding role. And his distribution hasn't developed as I expected or hoped it would. So, but again, we can hold on to what I think is a serviceable midfielder. Compare Kyle to maybe Landry and Guemo. I mean, no contest. Every day I take Kyle. So interesting time for us to be in right now. Did we see Gary Hooper's last game in a Celtic shirt playing at Celtic Park today?
Yeah. I think we've spoken about this 101 times, and I just, at the end of the day, the board have already said that if he doesn't sign a contract within the next fortnight before the cup final, they've already said they will not let a player go into their last season.
And well, they should.
The club basically, that's their policy. They will not let a player go into the last year.
That's a good policy, in my opinion.
Well, I think it's a great policy as well. So I reckon he's got from now to the cup final to sign a new contract. If he doesn't, the day after the cup final, that's it. He'll be touted.
Yeah, I would like to see that happen sooner rather than later. Definitely. Just so that we can get whatever money that we would get for him in as soon as possible, and then start our search for his replacement. And I don't want.
Who would you go for then, Graham? If he did had to leave, who would you go for?
I have absolutely no idea. Just like I had absolutely no idea in 2010 when they brought in some guy named Gary Hooper from some club called Scunthorpe that I might have heard, once or twice on 5 Live when they're going through, the League One or the championship scores, and never paid a second thought to it. That's our market. That's finding the diamonds in the rough. There's been a lot of talk about bringing, I believe, Charlie Austin up, who I think is going to cost no less than $10 million. I mean, I think he's at Burnley at the moment. They paid like $7 million for him at the time. They're trying to develop him into a Premiership player, where maybe an Aston Villa or a Newcastle or Sunderland will come in and pay maybe 12 to 14 million. I don't think he's quite to that stature of player just yet. I don't think he's maybe developed into a lethal enough striker to start to command that sort of money. And that was what Burnley was hoping for. But he's going to require more money than I think we should be spending. I know that's probably odd hearing from me, because I'm always bitching about how little the club is spending, especially bringing in players and bringing in players of quality. But, that market of the £1 to £2 million player from an obscure market who shows a lot of promise, a lot of potential, very strong mentality for a young player, that's our market. That's really our sweet spot, if you will. I would love for us to have an American on the team. I've been screaming for it for years. We see all the success that Josie Altidor's having at the moment. I was screaming for us to buy him 3 years ago, and he's a leading scorer in Eredivisie. I mean, just with his build and with his strength and the finishing ability that he's developed, and certainly the footballing IQ, the instinct that he's developed. I thought, and I still think he would run riot in Scotland, but it's too late. The window's shut there. One player coming out of America just now, he's playing for Philadelphia Union in the MLS, and I just heard the collective sigh and nausea come over the entire chat room. But this a player that I have my eye on, 20 years old at the moment, 19, maybe 20 years old, Jack McInerney. He's not blessed with a huge amount of size. I mean, he might be like 5'9", 5'10", very similar to Hooper in many, many ways. Lethal finisher, has incredible instincts for a striker in terms of positioning, being in the right place at the right time for such a young player, and he's very, very mentally tough. That's exactly the sort of profile that we need. I mean, his first touch is absolutely sublime. He really creates his own chances, which is very nice to see. He's got a nice turn of pace. And he's got the instinct to be able to peel off of defenders in congested areas. I think that would be a great shout for us at the moment. I don't think he would cost much more than maybe $1 million. I think that would be a good bit of business. Some of these young players, you think, wow, that would be a good investment. Maybe for the future, bring him in, develop him up, and sometime, he'd be ready to play with the first team. I think he'd be ready from day one. So, obviously, I'm sort of biased. I want an American to come in. I have an exposure to what I would consider a more obscure market, being the MLS. But out with that. I would love to see us go to, maybe back to Central America where we found Izagiri, or maybe Israel where we've been rumored to be in for Ite Schechter, who's having a huge amount of success just now with Swansea. One of those things. I would rather us get some guy I've never heard of, but then you look on YouTube and it's like, yeah, there's a player in there. Because as you mentioned, this is the business model going forward. Where I will give Peter Lowell credit and where I will give the PLC credit is that they've come up with this business model that will sustain us into the future and ensure that we are going to continually grow while trying as much as we can to maximize our results. Now, for a large extent, I think Peter Lowell has been the beneficiary of the hard work and good work of Neil Lennon and especially John Park over the past several years. And long may it last. I'd rather be lucky than good. So it's going to be an interesting, summer. I mean, it's the type of thing where if we see Hooper and Wanyama go, I'm not so sure if we have the ready-made replacement for Wanyama. I mean, folks want to talk about Ambrose, where he has more of a physical presence in the middle of the park. Judging by his performances this spring, and especially last week, where we saw him in the middle of the park, that's not his position. I mean, I would like to see him take some time off, maybe in the summer, get his head right, come back in and play center half, because he was phenomenal. Last fall, partnering up with Calvin Wilson, and hopefully he can regain that. And obviously, we've seen a pattern here where center halves come into Celtic, they oftentimes struggle in their first season, as Calvin Wilson did, and then their second season and onward, they really shine. So fingers crossed that can happen for Ambrose as well.
Yeah, I just think what we said last night, if it does happen, what we said on the show, it's going to be a very interesting summer.
It is, definitely.
So, but I'll let you go, mate, and I'll take care. Hopefully catch up with you next week, mate.
Happy birthday to you. Come on, Rev. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
Big G.
Big G. Happy birthday to you. Have a good one, pal.
Right, I'll take care, mate.
Okay. Cheers.
Bye.
That's Big G. Getting in touch. You can find him on the Celtic Dream Show Friday night on Spreaker. It's great stuff. You're quite the singer, aren't you?
I am. Songbird of my generation, they say.
Ah, lovely. I think both of us are out of our league, though, when we are in the presence of one Seamus Cummins. All of us sing in the shower. He just does it much better. Speaking of which, we're talking about possibly getting together in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Reliving the Scottish Cup final madness. I call it gladness, but that was a couple of years ago. Scottish Cup final against Motherwell, where we discussed and sort of came up with this idea to do nonsense like this podcast.
The day it all started.
That's it. Rev, let me throw it to you. Gary Hooper, gone. I mean, let's just be honest. Gary Hooper played his last game in a Celtic jersey at Celtic Park today. He played like it, or he played like I would hope he would play. I would hope that he would want to go out and have an inspired performance and have a good send off with class, so that everybody can look back and have fond memories. And especially everybody that was at the game today. Have you thought about, who would be a reasonable replacement for him? Have you thought about, maybe somebody in the MLS? Obviously, Juan Agudelo trained with Celtic in the fall of last season, or this season rather, of last calendar year, fall into the early winter. I know you're not his biggest fan. Obviously, he's bounced around from here to there. Still only 20 years old. Are there any other players in the MLS, that would be worth a look, that maybe some of the listeners, aren't exposed to on a regular basis, but are sure to turn some heads? I brought up Jack McInerney. I think it's inevitable that he will find himself somewhere in Europe, possibly England, but I would even think he would be exceptionally useful in Germany, where they have that sort of lightning fast transition. I think that he would be exceptional even in like a 4-2-3-1 sort of formation. Anybody else in MLS?
Well, just to touch on Agudelo real quick, Chivas actually dropped him, and he's over at New England now.
Right, he's at the Revolutions, not to be confused with the Revs.
I don't know about McInerney. I mean, looking at it objectively, I just don't think he has. I mean, will he move on to somewhere in Europe? Probably. I think he's at that level. But I mean, to get to like a big name club, I mean, I could see him maybe in like the Championship. I don't really see him at Celtic. I think he's about to plateau, in my opinion.
How could you say that though?
I just don't see him getting that much better.
Why?
I don't know. He just
because he plays for the Union.
No, not at all. Like I'm saying, I'm trying to be as objective as possible. It's a combination of, if you want to go into his size. I mean, I'll admit I don't see him, enough of him that often. So, if that falls to you and Yampi and Seamus, if you guys can chime in a little bit better on his day to day. I mean, just from what I've seen when I've seen him play, does he kind of have the tactical brain? Yes. Do I think that kind of translates with his body, his size and stuff? I don't know.
He's the same size as Gary Hooper.
Oh, if I don't know. I just see it being like, he's going to be a superstar. I could see him being maybe, and not even like Josie, but somebody like Kenny Cooper or
oh God,
Ricardo
please!
Clark,
Oh my God!
But,
oh my God! Stop!
They go away and they come back.
Rev, put your pants back on.
I don't know. Anyway, as far as anybody else in the league, I have to think about it. It's still kind of early. I haven't seen.
All right, think about it.
I haven't watched so much of MLS this year, aside from the games we've played. So.
All right, well, think about it. While you're thinking, anybody listening in, Skype lines are open. Add us as a contact. Beyond the Waves, all one word on Skype. Free call and speak your mind.
But to be perfectly honest, I just say we promote Tony Watt. I mean, we need we need to bring in another striker. Do we need to equally replace Gary Hooper? No, I don't think we have to do that. If we have the money and stuff, whatever. But I think it's just high time. Give the majority of the starts to Tony Watt, and if we still have Lasad on the squad next year, he can be first off the bench or something like that.
Jack Mack, bring him home. See, we already have agreement here. Now joining us all the way from Free Galley, it is Liam. He's the purveyor of the Free Galley Boys show. You can find that also on Twitter. Turning out the tunes. His wife calls me the American that talks pash. So she definitely has it absolutely nailed on today. I am shot out of a cannon. Liam, thanks for calling. And what's your thoughts on today? Another trophy. We were talking a little bit earlier about perhaps it having a bit of an anticlimactic feel or a vibe to it, but the players going out and playing the way they did, and certainly a fantastic display from the supporters at Celtic Park. It definitely had a special feel to it, no question about it. What are your thoughts?
Fair, brilliant today. The players, they showed up for the last 2 weeks. They've been missing. They haven't showed up to play the game. Today they were brilliant. I think that's maybe because Scott Brown back in the team.
Yes. You know what? I've been a huge detractor. Let me hold my hands up here, okay? It's time for Graham is a Mug. This is going to be a new segment in the show. Anytime I'm caught out, we're gonna have a Graham is a Mug segment. So the first edition of the Graham is a Mug segment is I hold my hands up. Scott Brown, no question about it. He is the Celtic captain. I mean, when he's fit, when he's in the side, it's no question about it. What he brings to this club when he's fully fit, what he brings to the rest of the players on the park when he's fit and when he's on form is undeniable, and we saw it on display today.
Yeah, exactly. He's not a top class player. He's not skillful, but today he entertained us. His wee back heeler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lovely.
He's brilliant. The man had he's from my neighbourhood.
Love the Fifers.
I don't know if the stories are true about him having a hand tattoo and stuff like that. But the man at Celtic daft now.
Yeah, no question.
From his first trophy, remember his first trophy?
Yeah.
He picked up. He said, This is why I'm here. I'm here to win trophies."
Mm-hmm.
And he's still here yet, and he's winning trophies.
Well, and not
the
just
team
that.
Respect him. The team respect him. When he's not playing, the team are they're basically poor.
You're absolutely right. I mean, without him in the starting 11, it is a completely different side. And in addition to that, picking up on your point, he has connected not just with the club and embraced the club, and obviously the rumors of him having a King Billy tattoo or whatever. Typical Pfeiffer.
Oi, sir.
No, I kid the Pfeiffers. But I mean, you hear it and you sense it when he talks about the supporters and when he talks about what it means to the supporters, and you just sense that he gets it and that he connects with us, and that's fantastic to see. Not just from a Celtic player. I mean, we all hope and expect Celtic players to have that coming in or over a period of time. Because we give so much to the club, so much of our emotion and so much of our energy. But for the Celtic captain, to have that and to be an example to the other players, I think is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly. And just a wee point on the Lennon issue about Lennon going to Everton. I don't think it's going to happen. I can't see it.
I didn't want to get stuck too far into this today, because we do have time, over the next couple of weeks. What I will say, I will say this. I mean, I don't want to just completely ignore it or avoid it. I believe that Neil Lennon managed his last game for Celtic at Celtic Park today. So if you have a ticket to the Cup final in 2 weeks' time, I would hold on to it. I wouldn't even think twice. Unless you're on your way to A&E, I would be at that game because it is quite possibly, and in my opinion, very likely to be Neil Lennon's last game managing Celtic. Now, what does that mean? He's away to Everton? I can't say that with 100% conviction. What I do know, what I have been told from, I've been told from so many sources that have said the exact same thing that, it's just silly that he is away this summer.
I've been told as well, but the boys know who I talk to. You know who I talk to, so you know who've told me. But I can't see it. I don't know. I just can't see it. He's had a lot of abuse and that from fans this year and that, but he's still the man's Celtic daft.
Oh no! I mean, look, nobody's.
I think he's going to wait maybe a year.
You know what? Nobody's going to deny Neil Lennon's affection and feeling towards Celtic Football Club. No question. But there's a couple of different angles that you can look at this. The first one is, would Neil Lennon leave? That's the first question. The second question is, would Everton have Neil Lennon? We need to answer both of those questions in order to say with 100% conviction that it's a good bet Neil Lennon's going. And aside from Paddy Power, who takes him from 10-1 to 4-1 overnight. Which certainly raises some eyebrows and speculation. In addition to, I've talked to the same source as you, as well as several other sources, including one very, very reputable source, and they all concur. It's all the same exact story, and it's coming from inside of Celtic Park. First off, would Neil Lennon leave Celtic? There was a time when I would say not at this point. There are a lot of factors that are involved with this. And
see with all these rumours, do you think he's maybe leaving or getting pushed?
Now we're getting into it. And I with all due respect, I want to save this over for sort of the next couple of weeks because I do have some information and I do want to share it and I do want to talk about it. And things are going to become much more conclusive over the coming weeks. But what I will say in response to that is, you ask a very good question, and I'll leave it at that. But I think you can sense from my response, which way this is going. It's when Neil Lennon said that, and I think he made the comment and he responded at his press conference this week that, many of these sort of decisions are out of his hands. I'm paraphrasing, but he said something to the effect, it's all out of my hands. I don't think that was just talking about Everton, coming in for him. I think that it was a come and get me sign that he was putting around his neck. Now, would Everton come in for him? I think absolutely. Some people will listen to this and laugh and say, oh, it's rubbish, especially with, so many great candidates out there at the moment. There's a lot of very, very good reasons. When you lay them all out and you make the case, I'm as cynical and skeptical as anybody, but when you lay out all the facts and you make the case, it definitely does make sense.
Is there any more news on Malcolm Mackay? According to BBC, I think it was yesterday, he was approached.
Yep.
For the job.
Yeah, and his name has been mentioned in that as well. Obviously, Roberto Martinez is sort of one of the front runners, and rightfully so, with the fantastic job that he's done throughout. And being able to keep Wigan from being relegated year after year. Malky Mackay bringing Cardiff up, that's certainly a credible candidate, but there is a certain profile. When you look at Everton's hire of David Moyes, there's a certain profile that they're looking for. And I think that Neil Lennon fits that profile quite well. And obviously, like I mentioned, over the coming weeks, it's all going to reveal itself, obviously, but we'll have plenty of time to review this. I think Malky Mackay would be a fantastic selection for any club. I mean, look at the job that he's done with Cardiff.
I think I'm playing.
No question.
Manager.
No question. No question.
Right, anyway, Graham, I'll let you get back to the show.
Cheers, pal.
Thanks for taking my call. And hail, you and Bev. Cheers for the call.
Cheers, pal. Hail. And we'll be listening in later.
No problem.
All right. Cheers, pal. That's Liam from Gelly. Free Gelly. He's the Free Gelly boy, Rev.
Indeed
enough. Got a shout out from Tommy Gold. Have you been listening to his show lately?
I haven't for a couple weeks.
It is unbelievable. Rev, I listened to it, here and there, when I could in the past, and obviously I enjoyed it, and Tommy's just absolutely brilliant. But as of lately, it's can't miss. I come home from work and it's like, okay, Tommy's on. I got to listen. It's absolutely nuts. I mean,
I'll have to put back on listen on Spreaker.
Rev, listen back to some of his shows from last week. I mean, it's crazy. He gets the numbers to all of the Rangers supporters clubs in North America, Australia, and he just calls them. And he'll call people like at home. He calls them on their cell phone, and he tells them to sell their shares. And it's crazy. And these people get on the phone and it's like, they believe him. He's Jack McDowell from a Rangers podcast. And they're like, oh, I gotta call the boys and have them sell their shares. It's hysterical. He calls up like brothels in Las Vegas and Nevada and whatever. He's talking about getting his haggis on the table and Tadgers and all this stuff, and it's crazy. Here, I'm gonna play. This is kind of long. I don't know if I want to play the thing or the whole thing or what. What do you? It's 12 minutes, but Rev, it is the funniest thing you've ever heard.
Go for it.
Here, I'll play it. That will it. Gotta support Tommy. It's 12 minutes, but bear with this. You know what? It'll give me a chance to maybe run and get a drink or something. But check him out on Spreaker. Here, listen to this. This is Tommy. He's calling Archie, who's the president of a Rangers club. And it's literally one of the funniest things I've ever heard. I mean, I was crying. Just listen.
Hello?
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 Hello? Is Archie there?
Who's calling, please?
It's Jim.
Jim who?
Jim McDonald.
Jim McDonald. You want me to give him a message?
Is he available? It's from back home in Glasgow about the Rangers.
It's a bit back home. You're back home in Glasgow?
Aye. Are you from Glasgow yourself?
Aye.
Oh, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. You're Jim McDonald.
Aye.
If you want Archie Hamilton?
Aye, is he available, Archie?
Aye, hold on then to go get him, alright?
Alright.
So this guy, he's the president of some Hun club in Toronto or something.
Okay.
You can hear Tommy in the background giggling. And he does this live from his cab. Like, he does these shows from his cab. It's amazing. I could barely do this in my basement.
Archie, I'm on the phone for you to Scotland, Jim McDonald.
Huh?
I'm just from Scotland, Jim McDonald. Put it to you and talk.
Hello.
Hello,
Yep.
Archie.
Who's this?
How you doing? It's Jim here. I'm phoning for Glasgow. It's regarding the Rangers. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Is it yourself? It's the president of the Toronto supporters, Ranger supporters, aye?
Aye.
Aye, have you heard the news, mate?
What?
About the Rangers, about we're going into administration in the morning?
You're kidding.
No. I wish I was. I mean, Jesus, I wish I was. I'm phoning here. We're phoning, a phone from our Rangers podcast here, and we're taking the reaction that, for people and to give you advice that you didn't buy shares in the share issue there in December?
No.
Oh, thank God for that. Thank goodness for that. Aye, because there's talk that there's...
Hang on. So the president of one of the RFC, the RSCs, the Rangers Supporters Clubs, didn't even buy any shares in their stupid share issue. No wonder they're dead.
Be liquidation as well, Archie.
Oh my God.
And this time...
I've been on the internet all night and I didn't say anything.
Well, this is the news that's coming out the new. I've got an inside source in there saying that the season's over now. Well, everybody's out of the Radisson Blue with the legend stuff. Have you seen the stuff about the legend stuff, aye?
Aye.
Well, because it's all finished now, the season's finished, the word is the Police are travelling up from London, the fraud squad, the City of London Police, they're going to turn the whole thing into a crime scene. Imran Ahmed, Charles Green, Zeus, and these dumb schmuck bastards have really done it now. They've got the stock market, everything, the whole thing is coming down on us. I can't believe it. Can't believe it at all. I'm phoning round. People have said get round, phone everybody, tell them if they've got the shares to try and get in there and sell it tomorrow, because it's gone quicker than Lehman Brothers. It could be gone for tomorrow night. Can you believe it, Archie?
You're kidding.
I'm no.
That's unbelievable. So it could be all over tomorrow.
But tomorrow night.
Oh my God. Oh jeez.
Can't believe it, Archie.
No.
I'm phoning here. I'm for the Brington Loyal myself. Whereabouts you, Faye?
I'm for Mary Hill.
Jeez. You've been over there a while, aye?
Aye.
Oh, I've got a boy down there the news, a boy down there waiting the news. But we're talking about maybe even trying to pick at the doors and block it for stopping these people coming. But it's been all it's coming tomorrow. I'm telling you, it's coming tomorrow.
Oh my God. That's unbelievable.
This guy says, "Oh my God,"
Is there
about
anything on
30
the site
times.
about it right now?
No, really, no, because this is for. Well, there might be. What site you're looking at? Well, it depends what one you're looking at.
Oh, I'm on the Rangers site.
The actual rate, the main site. Are you on any of the forums or anything? But
No, just in the Rangers.
no, they'll not be on there. The new what the Rangers
No.
what?
Just the home site.
Geez. No, it's not there. No, nobody there. The new. No, I mean the stuff as it's came out on the stuff. It's missed. I think it's the first edition. The record. I mean that clown Jackson. Ever since Trainer went away there, I think he's sniffling up Lowell's arse or something, because the stories he's been printing, that Jackson, has just been unbelievable. But he reckons now he's stating that the City of London Police who came up, remember, under Boomsong and Souness, that they're coming in and they're saying enough is enough, because what Ahmed has done, or Ahmed, or whatever he's called, and Green, what they have done is basically criminal, especially for all the bears, for all the shares. That's what we're phoning to say. Any bears with the shares, sell to get the money out, because if you're going to lose a few £100, you might as well lose a few £100, because if you've got £1,000 in, the whole lot's out the window by tomorrow night, because
Just kidding.
Oh, they were talking about only because it's a bank holiday. They were going to be shutting it there at the weekend, but only they've had to keep it open because I don't know why. I think it is because they did the last game at the weekend, and this one here for this final one, I think they had to let it go because it was a charity stuff. So now the word is the police are on the way up the now. I don't know if they're flying in the morning or driving up the night or whatever, but the Bears were trying to get a picket outside and stop it happening. If they're wanting in, then we're saying over our dead body, you know what I mean? We can't let them do this. At least we need to see the reason why we reckon they didn't sell the shares over in America and whatever in Canada was because usually get the lawyers in and could do something. So that was how they closed it down, because they knew that this was all going to, it was a stack of cards, it was all going to come collapsing down. And this is what it's doing. It's coming right down the night tomorrow or whenever it's shutting. Is
there any coming out in the record right now?
Aye, well, that's what it is. I reckon the first. I've not even seen it, but it might take a wee while for the first bit to hit. The always does for the website, but they know it's on the news. They reckon it's on the paper. They know that it's going to be coming out saying the police.
I'll go down and look at the paper.
Oh, jeez.
Give me your phone number.
Aye. Do you want to? It's would you want my mobile, whatever, or?
Whatever's easiest for you.
Aye. You can phone me anytime. It's 07
right 123
832
67
yep
89
77
2
36
9er
right
12
45
12
7.
That's 07
yeah read it back, dum
7736 12.
Aye.
All right. I'll need to get in touch with some of the guys.
Yeah,
I know some people have got, some of the guys in the club have got shares.
Oh God, get them to sell it.
Well, if you could tell them that the market doesn't open till tomorrow.
Yeah, wait till then.
So
all right.
They've still got all night.
Okay. Thanks for phoning.
Right, sorry to bother you.
You're quite upset, aren't you?
Oh, aye.
Oh, jeez. This is terrible. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I'm
going to phone a couple of people.
I'm heading down there the now. You got my number. I'm heading down there the now to see what's going on, to see if we can raise some of the bears up, because at this time of night I might be late.
In the morning.
I know, but they're coming up. We're going to try and get somebody there to stop them coming through the fucking door. We're going to have to put bodies in front of them, because there's no way, no surrender. They're not coming in. Archie, if you know anybody, phone people, because that's what I'm doing. I'm phoning in everybody, every bear in Glasgow. I'm going to knock them up, and we're going to stand there. We're going to stand there man to man. There's no way, no surrender are we giving this club up.
Good for you.
Get a plane over if you can. They'll take us down man by man. If they'll take us down man by man, send over reinforcements. No surrender, Archie. This is the last stand. God, what can we do? I'm holding together, Archie. I can't take it easy, Archie. This is our club. This is our history. It's getting out of country. What are we going to do? It's Campus Line Rangers are bust now.
You take it. You have to be cool. Be calm. You get all upset.
Yeah, this guy.
I stay Uncle Patrick. I'm going
their club's about to die again. He's like, hey, take it easy, man. You know, I mean.
Erskine Bridge. What am I going to do? It's all over.
Just watch yourself then.
Watch myself. I got it.
Oh, jeez. Sorry, I'm gonna have to go, because I'm gonna have to phone some people.
Please.
I'll get back to you, but
Tommy's not
phone some heads or something. We need help. If you get any billionaires, send a billionaire there, for Christ. A real billionaire this time. See that bastard White? Who gave us that front? We need a real billionaire. Surely, God, you must have billionaires over there. Take a penny. Send a billionaire there, Archie. Send a billionaire. Save the bells.
This guy's still on the
phone.
phone.
I'm going to kick my ass. I'm going down the Brighton Loyal tomorrow. Oh, fucking, I can't even. What are we going to do, Archie?
Well, you know what? You can't do nothing right now.
How? We need to stand at the doors. No surrender.
Yeah,
We can't let them in. We're fucking arrested. You wanted to be arrested when the club's shutting. It'll be a test go by the end of the week. Fucking missed. Martin Luther King we need. We need another Martin Luther King. Send somebody here. Send the troops.
Oh,
Fucking...
jeez. All right, I'm going to have to go because I'm going to have to phone some people.
Phone everybody. Sell,
All right,
sell, sell. If you know Gordon Gecko, tell him to sell. Sell it. Sell. Fucking hell.
Okay.
Right.
I have to go.
Take care. Take care.
All right,
Don't
Jim.
leave me.
Take it easy.
I can't take it easy. Archie, help me. Jesus. There must be somebody. Fucking hell. I know, mate. I can't. I'm sorry. Stay calm. Breathe. Right. You laughing? You're laughing there. It's not a fucking joke. 2 in the morning. I'll not go to sleep.
I know you will, mate. No,
I'm
I'm not
glad
going
I
to sleep
said-
now either.
I'm away to smear shite in the woods here. A dirty protest it shall be. We'll smear shite in the shite house. The cludgy carry shut. Knowing my watch, Jim. Archie. I can't take it anywhere. Jesus. All the best. You phone whoever.
Okay, Jim.
Barack Obama. Who's the president? Phone somebody. Jesus.
I'm going to phone.
Phone. Speak to you soon.
All right. I'll phone you back later.
Oh, right. You're going to phone me back. Don't phone that number. That's some dafty's number. I've not got a clue who that number is. Phone. Sell. Just sell. Get Gordon Gecko on the phone. Right, with enough of the USA. We'll leave the good people of USA.
So there you go. Tommy, fantastic stuff. One of my favorite shows now. On Spreaker. He's on. It's a little unpredictable, in terms of when he's on, but it's almost been like every night. He calls all sorts of play. He calls strip clubs and talks to them in Scott, and no American can understand him. He'll call up and these strippers. It's these strippers are answering. It's like, hello. And he's like, what are you doing, hen? I got my haggises and 15 Scots and we're ready to do this thing. Got steak bake for the bakey. I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. It's hysterical. So anyway, Tommy, Glasgow Radio Online is the name of his channel. Check it out. That was a good bit of fun and lots of rumor about what's ahead for Sevco this week. So get the jelly and ice cream ready, and plenty more to come, I'm sure, from Tommy. So great stuff there. So much stuff on Spreaker at the moment. You got Tommy, you have Liam, who we just heard from. Good call from Liam. He's Free Gelly Boy. You can find him on Twitter under that name. And then Big G calling in from the Celtic Dream Show. So great stuff. That is absolutely a classic call from Tommy. The great Tommy Gold. So, Rev, I think we saw with the exception of, like I mentioned before, Wanyama, he's not going to be available, but I would say Ambrose in at center half, Mulgrew up to the midfield, and we have our starting 11 in 2 weeks' time at Hampden. What are your thoughts there? Who do we need in that side? Would you start Sammy? Would you start Commons? Or would you leave it how it was today? I think it was clicking on all cylinders. I think that each of the players who were playing individual positions were comfortable in what they were doing, and that is absolutely essential. Even more so than sort of the tactical matchup, putting the players in good positions to make plays as they were today is absolutely essential, because we cannot out-execute when we have the confidence and when we have the clarity. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I would try to keep it as close to today as possible. What's up with Matthews? I forget. Is he injured?
He's been injured for a long time, and
is he completely done then?
I would think so. I mean, Lustig has really cemented his spot back at right back, but that's not a bad shout because he does give you, a bit more pace and a bit more of that overlap potential down the right hand side. I mean, that might come in handy, especially if Charlie Mulgrew is going to be slotted into the midfield. We lose a bit of pace and a bit of sort of technical ability. Obviously, Charlie's going to be a stopper and nothing much more than that, other than, obviously dead ball situations. So having Adam Matthews down that right-hand flank, I think could be, it could be a good shout. What we've seen from a tactical standpoint, and I've talked about this over the past several weeks, where you can't even tell what the shape of the team is. And I think we've lined up more in like a 4-3-3, whereas today we went back and we added the additional man in the midfield. Now, on a 4-3-3 can work when you have space and when it's tactically sort of appropriate. But when you go away to Ross County in the wind, horrible pitch, and you ask that much of your midfield three, that's just a lot to require. I mean, I think Wanyama in the middle of the park doing that is absolutely essential. But the way that we're playing that 4-3-3 is very narrow. So what you see is Emilio Zagari has been caught out several times defensively in these games because he's so exposed. There's absolutely nothing down that left-hand flank when you have like Tony Watt playing in the sort of left-hand forward position in the 4-3-3. He's not going to track back. He's not going to slow down players in transition, and it leaves a lot of work for Izagari where he can't provide that overlap. He can't provide that width, and we don't have any width, and that's absolutely essential when we're playing at Hampden. We saw it against Dundee United to a certain extent, and we definitely saw it back in January when we went out of the League Cup semifinal. We need width. James Forrest is going to be a big part of that. That's why I would prefer him to start over Chris Commons, but Adam Matthews is an interesting one. I would also think that considering the fact that, when's the last time he played? It's got to be a couple months. So I wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised to see him play next week against Dundee United. Because I would look for Lennon to start resting some players, especially the players that really went out today, busted a gut, and obviously continue to train. Don't send them back to Dubai. Forget that. That's just the most ridiculous thing ever. Keep them training, keep them sharp. But we don't want to, send them out at Tannadice and risk anything ridiculous.
Me personally, I would go with, Lustig or Matthews. I would keep, Wilson and Mulgrew together. I would do midfield of Forrest, Brown, do Commons behind, the strikers, Sammy on the left, and then Hooper and Stokes up top. I know that's not the formation that's going to come out. So it would be closer, like what you're saying, like, Mulgrew and Brown and, center midfield.
That's a very attacking lineup, where, essentially the only player in that midfield that you presented that's really going to be any sort of stopping force is going to be Scott Brown.
Right. No, I know. And I think we have to be up for this game. We can't sit back and hope to, really catch Hibbs, sleeping. I think they're.
And we have to be on attack. We have to attack. Definitely.
They're going to be up for the game. They're going to want to, win, and they're going to do everything within their power. They're not going to take the game lightly. So I think we have to match that and exceed it. It's going to be a close one, I think.
Yeah, I'm a lot more optimistic than I was maybe 12 hours ago.
Yeah,
about it. But I think we need to make a decision. Either it's going to be Commons or Forrest, or you're going to have to sit Sammy. And to be honest with you, I want Sammy on that pitch. I want Sammy running around Hampden. It's a big pitch. There's hopefully going to be grass. For them to play on, so they can keep it on the ground. It's not going to be, a cow pasture, and that's really where Sammy, does most of his damage. It's, just keep him down the left hand side, give him a ball to run onto, and then maybe put Ledley right next to him. Scott Brown obviously is going to be a natural, and then put Forrest over there on the right hand side. Give you a bit more of a wide option that can cut in, of course. And I would probably save Commons for maybe a late game substitution. I like Commons much more coming on against tired legs. Mm-hmm. But that gives you just enough steel in the middle of the park to protect the back four. And it also, it releases Izagari a bit because Ledley can slide over and sort of protect that left-hand flank if Izagari is going to go on the overlap. And unless they can do it, he does. He's sort of like
he sort of ghosts around. He finds himself in good positions by following up on second balls, and especially when we have the opponent pinned back in their own end. So, and he provides. Excuse me, I'm getting a frog stuck in my throat. Those who listened into Celtic Dreams last night will get the context. I think that Lustig gives a bit more of a defensive capability than Adam Matthews does. And conversely, I think Adam Matthews is much more dangerous in the attack as compared to Lustig. Not that Lustig is a liability with that. I mean, especially off of set pieces, especially in the air. He's been quite good with that. He's shown a tendency to put himself about. But that's going to be a big decision, as is, who's going to pair up with Kelvin Wilson. The locks, obviously, are going to be Forster. Kelvin Wilson is going to be in its center half. I would think Izagari is going to be a lock on the left-hand side. He's had some good performances at Hampden, no question about it. I mean, that needs to be put out there. Ledley is obviously a given. Scott Brown, as long as he continues his fitness. And the same, personally, the same goes for James Forrest, for me. And Hooper. I'm not so sure about Stokes. I'm pretty sure Sammy's going to play. So for me, those are the locks. It's just a matter of who's going to fit in, sort of in that mold, in that context. I would expect Hibbs to come out and sort of like a modified 4-5-1. Maybe, can be interpreted as a 4-2-3-1, but they're going to look to hit us on the break. And with that, we can't go out with this tight formation 4-3-3, leaving the flanks exposed and putting so much pressure on Lustig, and especially Izagari. If you put, that's what I mean by if you put players in bad positions, you can't be surprised, when Izagari makes defensive sort of mistakes or is a liability when you do nothing to help him. I mean, we know he's not the best defensively. He's more of an attacking option at left back. Do him as many favors as you can.
You don't think that Stokes will play, or you're just not considering him a deadlock to start or something?
Well, I would play him. Just by virtue of the fact that Hooper is a completely different player when he's on the pitch, and right. and it's always useful to have a player that can create chances that far up the pitch, or who can drop a little further back and carry the ball up, or has almost a sixth sense with Gary Hooper when he's making those runs, when he's dragging defenders down, sending through balls in, and opening up space. It's going to be tight back there. But that's, when Hooper and Stokes first paired up, when they first came here and when they were at their dynamic best, that's what they were doing. The 1-2s just outside the box, frees up Gary Hooper to run in, and those were especially effective against these, 10 men in the box, keeping it compact, keeping it tight, giving up the flanks, things of that nature.
I would like to see, all things considered, and we coming out on top at the end of the game. I would like to see, Gary Hooper stay on for the full 90 since it's his last game, and maybe sub off, Stokes for Tony Watt. Let him be on the pitch when the whistle blows.
Good shout. Yeah, good shout.
Commons too.
Yeah, definitely. Yampy's getting in touch in the chat room. Well, he's changed everything to Scott Richards now. It's very official. Yampy. He doesn't want to go by Yampy anymore, I guess. Scott Richards. Scott Richards speaking. I'm calling him. I don't care. He's Yampy. He's always Yampy to me. He's comparing Hampden to JFK Stadium, this was a stadium back in Philadelphia, which was demolished in the early 90s to make room for the what is now, I think it's called the Wells Fargo Stadium, where the Sixers and the Flyers play. There used to be this 100,000-seat stadium. Originally, it was Memorial Stadium, and then, after the assassination of JFK, they renamed it JFK Stadium. It was actually where Live Aid in 1985 was held. So maybe some folks would be familiar with it from that context. But anyway.
That was the football field?
It was a football field. You know what? They played the Army-Navy game there every year. Up until like the mid-'80s, I think. I think I went to one Army-Navy game there. And I went to something else there, and I can't remember what it was. The Eagles never I don't think the Eagles ever played there. But
so it was like just a random other field in that complex?
Yeah, it was there. It was there. And Veteran Stadium, which was the
I've been there, yeah.
Yeah, that was the Phillies and Eagles Stadium up until about 10 years ago. That was right across the street from it, and this place just sat vacant. And it was just, it could seat 100,000 people, and it was huge, and it was massive, and it was just cavernous. But And I think it had a running track around it as well. But
the Eagles played on the baseball field?
Yeah, they shared the stadium with the Phillies. It was on AstroTurf.
Okay.
So it was like one of those convertible stadium cookie cutter deal, where they would. It was like a transformer. So that place was a dump. So it's just funny, he makes that comparison between Hamden and JFK. I think you would need the double Hamden in size. Maybe old Hamden. I might compare old Hamden that had the capacity of over 100,000. That would be similar to JFK. Hamden has shrunk down considerably, and they kept the running track. Fantastic. Way to think it through, boys. I kid Hamden. But, Scott Richards getting in touch.
Jeez. I'm looking at pictures of it on Google right now. That thing is massive.
Yeah. They used to have, they'd have 100,000 people for the Army-Navy game every year. And,
it doesn't even look full. Like, the seats only go, like, 75% of the way around, too.
Well, and they built the Wells, the indoor stadium, so for like basketball and hockey, and it probably only covers the ground that would be like half of what that former structure was. And I think it was a horseshoe. It wasn't a perfect oval. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like it looks like it only goes like the seating bowl only goes like 75-80% of the way around.
Right.
It's crazy.
Oh, how times have changed. Or
I was gonna say it's Philly. What do you expect? But hey.
So,
I'm kidding.
So, let's talk about shaving.
Okay.
Just to get you off of this Philly bashing, as you typically do. What did you shave with today?
I didn't shave today.
You did?
Probably.
Blasphemy.
Actually,
I like.
Actually, for someone who shaves his head and everything, I've got really sensitive skin.
I don't like where this is going. This is a slippery slope.
All right.
But what's your arm? So, you know what? So, I like skipping a day sometimes, but I like shaving. So I think I miss it.
I like to do the proper, warm towel on my face and everything like that, and it just takes, to shave my face, my head, and shower and everything, and clean up and all that.
Opens up the pores.
Yeah, no, I like to do it proper and take my time. So it's a good hour long, from beginning to end. So I don't have the time to do that every single day.
Yeah. See, I make time. I get up early. What are you using? The Colonel Conk stuff?
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Let's set it.
I switched. I had a badger, beaver. Yeah. Boar's
Easy.
hair. There you go.
Easy.
A boar's hair brush, but I switched back to my synthetic hair. I just like the way it lathers a little better.
Yeah, fantastic. Arthur's getting in touch. Great football show, lads. This is what I have to do to get Rev away from his Philly bashing. So we're going to Dundee United next week. Let me throw out this additional bit of controversy here and just sort of let it swing in the air. I think we're and this isn't going to come as a surprise to many folks, or I think many folks would probably see the writing on the wall as it pertains to this, but we're probably going up against maybe not the next manager of Celtic, but certainly a future Celtic manager in Jackie Mack and Simon Donnelly.
I didn't even think of that.
And I'm just wondering if people are sort of following their trajectory in the context of they are coming to Celtic. I mean, no question about it. They will get their chance. I don't think they're going to succeed Neil Lennon if Neil Lennon goes in the summer, but it certainly is in the future. We're now joined by the man who needs no introduction. He sometimes goes by St. Sextus. I call him Paulie, and he makes the best caramel cakes in the west of Scotland. It's Paulie. Thanks so much for joining us, pal. Hail. What was the scene at the game today? The Vadi Bovrils, or have you switched over to the more... Well, it was freezing there today, wasn't it?
Hey, Billy, oh, it's a kitty. Celtic loves you more than you.
Fire in.
Oh, fantastic, big man. You can't beat a wee bit of silver there.
You can't.
The Vadi Bovrils were floating.
I can't tell.
ended up with Dave Bovril, Graham. We had Kralski, we had Baz Lightyear, we had everybody coming up for fucking Rodney. Everybody coming up with Bovrils. Everybody seen at the beginning of the season. Remember, Graham? And I was saying, Rodney Bovrils is the way forward. So that's disgusting, man. That's disgusting.
You're
moving it all up. Hey, Rodney, don't do it up with a Bovril in my seat.
You're a visionary. You have everybody on the body Bovril.
Tell me, Pedro will be charging £6 for him next year.
6? Oh, he can make more money than that. I mean, we got the man now. You know what? He'll do a 2-for-1 with the onesies.
I'm still taking mine in anyway.
As you should. As you should. What was the atmosphere like today? Obviously, a lot of the narrative throughout the spring was the amount of bother that the Green Brigade found themselves in. I saw it when I was over in February. Did you notice, the Focus, the 5-0, the Polis, whatever you want to call them? Did you notice a huge presence of them? Was there any sort of bother going on with the Green Brigade? I mean, they sounded like they were in good voice. Didn't seem like there was any sort of harassment, but you were there. Tell us what you saw. Hello. I think we lost him.
Whoops.
I think he I think he ran out of Vadi for his Bovril. But anyway, thanks so much, Paul, for checking in. He sounds like he's in good voice. Or bad voice, as it were. But we don't judge. You should hear me sing.
I have.
Everybody
We
has.
all have.
Unfortunately. But Reva, I didn't hear of any, sort of shenanigans going towards the Green Brigade. Interesting, now all of a sudden after, obviously the revelations that have, to a certain extent been swept aside. But from several weeks ago, obviously Stevie from the affiliation coming out with some just absolutely damning and shocking revelations, and the police harassment going on in the march and then the demonstration in George Square. It's really been swept aside, and we haven't really heard about any of this or talked about it. Very interesting. I think it's more than ironic. I think that the powers that be, which includes Celtic, are minding their P's and Q's. By Celtic, I mean, the PLC, Roddy Hawthorne, Peter Lawwell, etc. The people who have been alleged to have an agenda here. So I'm interested in, have the Green Brigade gotten some slack? Or as Peter likes to refer to, have they gotten enough rope to hang themselves? Because at this point, I don't think they're covering themselves in anything but praise.
No, I want to say, okay, things are all right for now, but not being like Mr. Conspiracy Theory, but is there a bit of an ulterior motive, or?
Well, it's like a piano hanging over your head all the time. You never know what's going to happen. It's like, oh, okay, well, we got sort of a free go this week. There wasn't any trouble, but you never know when it's going to happen.
Right. So, or there's with the the cup presentation today and everything. Was it just the fact that there's kind of bigger fish to fry, and their attention was turned towards something else? Because if you kind of look at it, nothing else was really going on when all this other stuff at the Green Brigade happened. So the riot in Dundee, that was before the transfer window. All the arrests and stuff, that was after Champions League too, I think, right?
Yeah. So
nothing else was going on. So is that really what it is? Like, those at the top are just not bored and need something to do, but there's nothing else really going on that has their attention. So then they're able to kind of be pricks about it.
Well, and I also think that it's gotten the attention of a lot of people with a lot of power. One of which being Jeanette Finley, who's not going to put up with that. And I can't applaud her enough.
Right.
The intentions that she has, the values and sort of morals and what she stands for, and the sort of action that she gets into is to be applauded. And the work that the Celtic Trust have done. They're holding the board accountable on behalf of the fans. And we need a voice like that, because unchecked, we've seen the result. So hopefully this is a long-term response to the good work that she and others have done, to start the rally at George Square, to raise awareness about this, from coming on shows like ours to tell the story of what happened. This is why it's important. This is why it's important for, you can have a problem with me being critical of Peter Lawwell. And that's fine. Listen, it's your opinion. No problem. I don't take it personally, and I'm not going to stop. But that's why it's important that we ask questions. Worst case scenario in this isn't that I look like a mug. That's a best case scenario. The worst case scenario is I'm right, and we have problems, and we have supporters being arrested for no reason, getting banned, thrown out of the stadium. That's the worst case scenario. I'd love to be a mug. I'm trying to set up the Graham is a mug segment here. Talking about Lennon not coming back. That's going to be a great Graham's a mug segment in August. We need a theme song. Any listeners want to put a Graham is a mug theme song together, get in touch. beyondthewave67@gmail.com. We're taking submissions. So before Paulie called in, we're going to talk about Dundee United next week. As we've referred to, I would expect maybe a smattering of the first team players, but you'd almost have to think it'd be Tony Watt starting. I would hope that we're going to see a Tadic, maybe not starting, but certainly coming in as some sort of substitutes role. Who knows what the context of the game is going to be 65, 70 minutes in, when, it seems as though Lennon likes to wait before he's going to make substitutions. But I'd like to see him. I'd like to see what we have with that. I'd like to see a Paul George. I'd like to see a John Ringo. I'd like to see more of Dylan McGeoch. I think it's great that he's gotten a run out this late in the season. I'm on the fence about Scott Brown. It might be good. Too. It might be good to give him another just wee run. Maybe give him the first half.
Right. 30 minutes, 45 tops.
Yeah. Maybe bring him on in the second half just to get some sharpness and things like that. Personally, I'd rather have him on early rather than late in case it gets scrappy. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have an off button.
Exactly.
So if it gets scrappy, he's going to throw himself into situations that might be risky. Whereas, you throw him on in the beginning of the game, lets him just sort of feel his way into the game, and then, okay, right, you're done. Bring him off. Put in Kyle or whoever, you want to do. And, just leave it for that. So, now joining us all the way from the friendly confines of South Jersey, not to be confused with Central or even North Jersey. It's an important distinction. It's I'm still calling you Yampy. I don't care if you change all your Twitter or your chat handle or your Skype. You're always Yampy to me. It's Yampy.
I don't know how the fuck that happened.
What?
I'm sitting here, I'm like, you just brought that up. I'm like, what the fuck happened? I didn't even touch anything. Technology and me don't agree a little bit, bro.
You synced your Facebook to it, didn't you?
Yeah, something to do with, because it's like when you link it or something, I guess.
Yeah.
It goes by whatever you logged in with that. It's fucking stupid.
Resident technical geek Rev checking in with the good call there. Yampy, how are you, pal? What's your take on today? I mean, I know you were as frustrated as many people were with some of the performances of recent weeks. How much did today put you back on the sort of right path? I guess in the context of putting your mind at ease, especially in the context of this cup final that's going to be so important coming up in a couple weeks.
I think Lenny told the club before the game that if they didn't get their fucking asses straight, that they were going to be on holiday for good. This was a really good performance. I missed the first couple minutes because I was still in a semi-comatose state from all the friggin' drugs I've been taking.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
It was a good match. I mean, it was everything you could ask for clinching. The winning the trophy and celebrating the trophy.
Mm-hmm. Doing it with a bit of class.
I need more Ronya, man. Can we get more Ronya out there?
What kind of drugs are you on?
I'm not going to be responsible for my tweets today. I'm not going to be responsible for what I say. It's all Percocet induced. Nah, I can't wait for that fucking dude to go. And yeah, I feel like we definitely saw Hooper's last match today. Hard to believe that we're talking about Hooper going. I mean, you remember like all the success he had against Sevco, and I mean, time flies. It really, really does.
It does. Yep.
like
Yeah.
you're saying when he first came from, with Scunthorpe, if I'm even pronouncing that right, you're like, who the fuck's this guy? And all of a sudden, he turns out to be like this real wonder kid and everything. And all of a sudden, it's like, wow, we want him here forever. Next thing you know, we're talking about him walking out the door. And it's like, I guess that's just a part, nature of the business. And I'll miss him, but somebody else will fill his shoes, just like he filled someone else's shoes. It's the way it goes. You replace people, and that's.
By the way,
the guy coming in is even better.
By the way, the shoes that Gary Hooper filled were Marc-Antoine Fortuné.
They're very small shoes to fill.
Yeah, exactly. They're very, very, very,
they
very
were toddlers.
Oh God, wobbly. Oh God.
I think Fortuné was serving me fries at McDonald's last night.
Easy.
Why? You didn't work at McDonald's?
You were in West Brom last night?
No. I could have been, maybe in my own private paradise for all the frigging stuff that was in my meds.
What do you want meds for, if you don't mind me asking? If you do mind me asking, then just...
Yeah, no, I broke a molar in my mouth. I was eating a nacho on the other side of my mouth, and all of a sudden the fucking tooth half exploded, and I thought they were the crunchiest nachos I ever had. And as it turned out, it broke straight up through into the jawline.
Oh my God!
And the fucking... I was sitting there, I'm like, all right, the woman's like, you're going to have to get this fixed. I'm like, all right, bitch, let's do this. And she's like...
Just like that. All right, bitch, let's do this.
She's like, I guess you're not familiar with the U.S. medical system. I'm like, well, I've been alive for 40-plus years. Why don't you enlighten me? And she goes, well, the oral surgeon, he's not just a doctor, he's an oral surgeon.
Of course.
He only works Mondays, and on his busy weeks, he works every other Tuesday.
Oh, lovely. So in the meantime, I'll just, I'll just
For 2
F
weeks,
myself.
I'll walk around with a fucking hole in my mouth.
Right. Yeah, that seems
and
reasonable.
he can go shoot some golf. This is a tough job. On his busy week, he works 2 days a week. So he can't fucking get to me till the 21st. So they're like, oh, just take Percocets. I'm like...
Excuse me, I have a nacho embedded in my jaw, so I don't know. What else can we do?
I don't have cement that I could plaster the hole over with. So in a
Get
pinch,
some Quickcrete. We'll get it like a tooth form, and then we'll just crete it on there.
I'm using hard tortilla shells to just plaster over it. Yeah, but
keep him away from the old El Paso.
Percocets. I'm like, they were like, oh, Percocets, man, they'll knock you on your ass. I was like, I took one. It didn't really do anything.
Yeah. Common response. Look at me. I'm huge.
That's it. They're like, well, try two. I took two.
No, I'm more than twice your size. So how about 3? And the next thing you know, you're Brett Favre.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm looking for Mark Chamorro and my babysitter. And
Oh, easy. Oh, Jesus. Look, just don't start tweeting dick pictures, okay? Brett Favre kind of, he owns that genre, okay? Nobody wants to be the second guy to do that.
Who was that dude that was like the Celtic reserve or something that went to Amsterdam?
Oh, Paul Slane, yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck? That's too
I was just talking about him last night.
Party boy.
Because Amy was asking whatever happened to him, and I don't think he got cut, did he?
Yeah, he did. He was released.
He did?
Yeah.
That's what your wife needs to see. You're looking at pictures of some young dude's coin purse on your fucking computer.
Yeah, like Paul Slane now coming on as a substitute. All he's got is leopard skin Speedo.
Well,
he's pouring a pitcher of milk over his head, with glow sticks.
My wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm on Twitter, trying to X out of the screen and everything."
X, don't freeze.
I'm like, I swear to God, I don't know what the hell this dude's problem is.
maybe he needs some Percocet.
His friend, because I'm like, there's no way his phone got hacked. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is him. He just lost the plot. But no, I think what ended up happening was he was in Amsterdam with a pal or a couple friends, and put his phone, left his phone on the bar with them, or just in their, company too long, and they just went through his pictures and started posting his own pictures.
The only thing missing was like a Maori facial tattoo and Mike Tyson's tiger, man. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hi, Lenny. I'm not going to be in practice today. I'm not going to be in training, rather, today. There's a lion in my bathroom, and I got a baby in the closet.
Lying in my bathroom and I got an itch in my pants I can't figure out.
Look, all I know is if some buddies of mine found my phone and they were taking pictures of me in that sort of situation, I'd know about it.
Look,
they were his pictures. They're just actually posting it.
Right, there was one or two of them poses that there was nothing he could have done about the camera work.
Yeah.
But there were some other ones that looked like he got snaps of them on his own, man. It's like, serious?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me, dude?
Paul Diggler.
He looks like Eminem, man.
He does a little bit, yeah. He's got that sort of, Eminem type vibe to him, like
that shabby kind of like needs a shower look. And
I'm from Cinnaminson.
I've been sleeping in a cardboard box on 8 Mile. I need a bath look.
Why am I always itchy?
Oh man, yeah. So, how do we get to that guy again? I'm sorry.
Percocet.
Ah, yes.
It always leads you there.
The wonders of drugs.
So Yomp, you're pleased with the performance today. What do we need to do next week? Do we need two schools of thought here? Do we need to continue on with our sort of top starting 11, get them sort of locked in, synced up, running on full cylinders before I'm running out of cliches before the Cup final, just getting them to gel a bit, at least for a half, and then take them off, put a couple of kids on, or do we not risk it? Do we play the kids and just sort of adapt? Make small changes to what we saw today, run that out at Hamden in 2 weeks' time, and see what comes of that.
If I'm Lenny, and we'll play devil's advocate here, if I'm Lenny, I work the starters hard in practice. So we don't get into that mindset again that, it's all cool, we've done everything we had to do. I work them hard, but come match time, who are we playing? Motherwell?
Dundee
Is that
United.
who we're playing for the next match before the Cup?
Dundee United.
Or Dundee United, my bad. And then the run out for Dundee United, you just send out anybody that's not a starter in that Cup match. You can put your Ronias out there, you can put whoever you don't plan on putting in that Cup final match. I put Zaluska out there. Brownie needs a rest. Samaras.
Brownie needs a rest. He just came back.
I don't want him hurt, dude. You saw the difference he made today. Are you serious?
Just give me 40 minutes.
He gets out there and he blows out a fucking hip or something. They'll never live it down.
Just give me 40 minutes. 40 minutes of Bruni.
He's getting exercise, walking around Gallowgate, getting drunk. Let him be.
I'll take some of your Percocet and give it to him. It'll be fine.
Dude will be doing fucking handstands. Whee! No, I don't want Bruni anywhere near the pitch.
Okay. All right, fine.
Get Forster a nice pack and a shiatsu for his neck.
We got to play Wanyama. He's not eligible for the Cup final, so he'll be he'll be in the middle.
Front him out there. There's no. He fucked that up.
Well, why not? Why not play him next week against Dundee United?
Okay, well I can see that, but otherwise,
put Rogic next to him. See what the hell he can do next to the big man.
I like Rogic.
I think there's a player in there.
I do too. I like what you're saying about Jack Mack early.
Yeah. Okay, fire in here. I need. Rev was underwhelming in his sort of assessment. So
he's a Red Bull guy. What do you expect?
What are your impressions of Jack Mack? I big upped him a little bit, but you see far more of him than I do. I think he's very mature for, what is he, 19, 20 years old?
I love Jack Mack.
He's the type of player where sometimes, with those young kids, he needs to be nurtured. Hopefully somebody can put their arm around him. Jack Mack's the type where he's already played at the highest level in this country for 3 years now. He's going to step in, and he's not going to take shit from anybody.
He's tough, and he's a smaller guy who doesn't need to what I call, again, what we'll talk about through that posting up at the 18, putting his back to goal and try to, work around the guy. He'll use his speed and
posting
get
up at the 18. What is he at the elbow?
But you know what I'm saying, man. He can use speed to get past the defender. He's tough on the ball. He has definite creative flair. And he's a natural goal scorer, man. That's what you look for in guys who fucking our attackers. You want guys that can put the ball in the net. And
that's what we need. I think he'd be a good replacement for Hooper. In many ways, he reminds me of Hooper, but I think he has the potential to be a better player than Hooper because he does a fantastic job of creating opportunities, not just putting them away. He has fantastic instincts in terms of being in the right place at the right time in the context of the overall tactics, creating angles, creating space, but he can also create for others, which I love, and I think he has a leadership aspect to him for such a young player. And he's really undroppable in that Philadelphia Union side, and he produces at a very young age.
He's very un-Hooper-like in that he has a great work rate. He doesn't have that kind
he
of
never stops. Never
if
stops
I don't
running.
get the ball at my feet, then I'm going to have my arms on my side in the Jesus pose saying, "What the fuck?"
I'm going to shove a nacho in your jaw.
Yeah. I think that'll only cover part of the friggin' hole. But,
hey, congratulations to Wigan. They've just won the FA Cup. They've beat the financial juggernaut of Manchester City. So, Manchester City, get it right up, you.
All 4 Wigan fans will be happy.
Well played, sir. Well played. The Percocet.
Fortune can quit his job at McDonald's now.
Steady.
Go the fuck away. They're like Slane's crabs. They just won't.
Oh God! This is going in a very, very dark place. All right, listen. You're going to be. So we've been talking about getting together in a couple weeks in Philly. So what do you think, Yampi? You in for that?
Absolutely.
All right, fantastic. We're going to try and gain some traction here. If you're anywhere in the Northeast, obviously Celtics not coming back to Philadelphia this summer, but we're going to have a meetup. So if you're in the Northeast, Midwest, whatever. Cup final, Fido Irish Pub in Center City, Philadelphia, the Philadelphia CSC. It's going to be myself. The Rev is probably going to show up.
I will show up.
The Rev is
got a 5 o'clock at Red Bull Arena.
The Rev will show up.
For a brief appearance.
Seamus will be there. He'll sing you a song.
Hey, if we win and the crack's good, I probably won't be able to drive.
Oh,
here we go.
Another drink for Rev.
but if it's anything else, it's the Galaxy you're playing. I gotta go.
Now you know what this is. You know what this is. He already Yampi. This is the deal. He already knows he's not going. He's trying to get free drinks. That's what it is.
Here we go.
Get him loaded. He's not leaving.
I wish I was that smart. I didn't even think of that. Fuck.
I gotta go see Donovan. I want to go see Landon Donovan. Is he even playing?
I think he's back. If anything, it'd be Robbie Keane drawing me over there.
Christ, I've never seen that before. He's going to do kiss his arm, do a flip.
I've been an LA Galaxy supporter ever since I can remember. I'm just looking for some place to land.
Yeah, I said. I think they've had more than enough of seeing Landon's bald head and Robbie's little flip. And
me ma still has my Galaxy scarves from when I was a wee boy.
Oh, I kid, Robbie Keane. He's got more clubs than Jack Nicklaus.
A mercenary, gun for hire.
Oh, I've been a Coventry supporter since I can remember.
It's like he hasn't. How many clubs has he been with in his career? Like 15? He's like that dude from the friggin' Red Bulls. What's his name?
Johnny Steele. Johnny Steele. That's a good name. That's like.
He's a Celtic fan. You watched that.
He was. Yeah, that's true.
Anybody fan? He played for like 15 teams.
Mm.
No, not where he played for you. He goes. He's got like a shitload of pictures from.
Yes, he's a Fenian.
Oh my God, you're getting that jersey, aren't you, Rev?
I'll bet he does. Yeah. You know what? That's a great name though. It's almost like there was a Dutch player back in the day, I think it was Johnny Reb I think it was Johnny Rep. But he played for Holland back in the late 70s. It was a great name. And then there's a guy who plays for Shakhtar. I'm not sure if he still plays for them. I think he played left back. His name was Rat. Like literally it was I think it was a couple years ago on the back of his jersey, RATT, Rat.
Not just rat the way it's appropriately supposed to be spelled.
No, like the
metal band.
Like the heavy metal band. Yeah, exactly. What was you'd know this, Yampi? What was their big song?
Round and round.
Yes. Round and round.
Was it Rat or was it wasn't Cinderella or Rat?
No, Cinderella was you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Rat, I think.
Rat was Round and Round.
Playing South Jersey.
Round and round.
So if I get my...
They used to play that on the Gravitron.
Can I come down there?
No, you're not allowed.
Hang out with you guys.
Yompy, they used to play that on the Gravitron.
Yeah.
Or the Total Whirl.
Now, what was it? You're talking about the place in South Jersey, a little metal bar kind of thing, like rock club. Was that what you were saying?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I was trying to figure out what Rat sang, because I remember.
No, it's Round and Round.
Yeah.
My bad, I got lost in thought.
Yeah, little rat for you coming at you beyond the wave Celtic football.
I was actually getting this visual of Rev with the T-tops thing.
And IROC.
Wind gently blowing through the stubble on his head.
Yeah, driving the T-top Camaro in 1983.
What kind of ride do you have, Rev?
2010 Honda Civic.
Nice.
I got a Prius.
Hey. I don't have a Prius, but see, I can see Yompy driving a monster truck. Like, oh, get the fuck out of the way! Come on, I got Percocet. I got to pick up at CVS, bitch.
That's really how I drive, but I actually have I'm even worse than a Prius. I have a Saturn SUV.
Nice.
My students laugh at me when they leave for the day. They're like, "You drive that, dude? Seriously?"
Do you have to sit in the back seat?
Yeah, I actually had the chair all the way back, man.
I would just take the front seat out and sit in the back.
Oh, I hate Saturns. They're pieces of shit.
Well, we're getting all sorts of comments now, so I think it's time to wrap it up. Liam's in touch in chat. Graham, you're nuts. And Sean Murphy's sending us a tweet. He's at Succulent Horse, by the way. I think I just retweeted it. Tuned in to Beyond the Wave Celtic show for Celtic Chat. Ended up listening to talk of Live Aid, shaving, and dick pics. Hashtag blame Graham. So after 136 minutes, I think it's time to...
Obviously, he doesn't know us in real life, then.
Put her out of her misery. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Hey, if anybody would like to see us in person, we're going to be at the Fidel Irish Pub.
Yes, this horse has officially been beaten to death.
Yeah, exactly. People are like, yeah, I'm going to go there.
Free dick pics.
I'm with a bunch of fucking weirdos that drive bad trucks.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to sing Rebs and then play Rat.
Yeah, we got it going on. Party over here.
Boys of the old hairspray. All right. Well, listen. Yompy, thanks for calling in.
No problem, fellas. Sorry to burn you up there for a while.
No. It's always good stuff. We'll be in touch.
Rev, take it light, man.
All right.
You too.
Thanks, Bob. See you. Hello. Yompy. Always good stuff. Always good entertainment. Rev, are you awake?
I'm here.
All right, good. Listen, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Happy Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day here in the U.S., so all of the Americans listening in, happy Mother's Day. And for everybody else, happy weekend. And raised another trophy. Let's not lose sight of how important and how special and how big that is to win another title. Let's not take it for granted. Obviously, we're in a very good spot at the moment, but it's something to really appreciate. So do enjoy it, and there's plenty of time to mull over who's going where and doing what in the summer. But we're going to kick back and we're going to enjoy it. It's too rainy for me to do yard work, so I might take a nap.
Sounds like a plan. We have Mother's Day shopping to do.
Oh, lovely. What are you getting your mother?
I don't want to say it because she might hear down the hall, so I'll...
Does she listen to this?
Oh, actually, someone was supposed to listen in today. After she texted me during the week and it's like, "Oh, where can someone find your show?" And I gave her the address and everything, and then she's like, my mom. Someone was asking her, and then she's like, "Oh, when do you go live next?" I'm like, Saturday, probably like noon or 1. So
great.
You might be listening in.
I'm sure she was delighted with today's show. Absolutely.
No, not her. I'm just talking. She could probably hear me yelling, talking to you, not actually listening to the show.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means. Check out Celtic Dreams. They're going to have a show. You heard Jerry a little earlier on joining us, giving us his thoughts. He's playing the tunes. Get tuned into that Celtic Dreams show starting straight away after we wrap up here. Mercifully, we're gonna shut this thing down. Title winning party with Celtic Dreams on Spreaker. Also, Tommy Gold and his fantastic stuff on Spreaker as well. Check that out. It's absolutely hysterical. Glasgow Radio Online, Free Gelly Boy show, and everything else that I was supposed to punt. You can check it out on our Twitter, BTW Celtic Show. Shout out to Paul Larkin as well. Fantastic stuff from him. You can find his latest book on Lulu.com as well as Amazon, The Last Pearl Diver, which is rhyming slang for Fiverr. All right. So, taking us out as always is Shane McGowan and the Pogues. Rev, thank you.
Thank you.
Champions.
Championes.
Hey, keep the faith. We'll talk to you soon.
The island, it is silent now, but the ghosts still haunt the waves. And a torch lights up a famished man who fortune could not save. Did you work upon the railroads? Did you ride the streets of crime? Were your dollars from the White House? Were they from the 5 and dime? Did the old songs start to cheer you? And did they still make you cry? Did you count the months and years? Or did your teardrops quickly dry? I know that it was not to be on a copping ship. I came here and I never even got so far that they could change my name. Thousands are sailing across the western ocean to a land of opportunity that some of them will never see. Fortune prevailing across the western ocean, their bellies full, their spirits free. They'll break the chains of poverty and they'll dance. In Manhattan's desert twilight, in the dead of afternoon, we stepped hand in hand on Broadway, like the first men on the moon. And a blackbird broke the silence as you whistled, it's so sweet. And in Brendan Behan's footsteps, I danced up and down the street. And we said goodnight to Broadway, giving it our best regards. Tipped our hats to Mr. Cohen, dear old Times Square's favorite bird. Then we raised a glass to JFK and a dozen more besides. When I got back to my empty room, I suppose I must have cried. Thousands are sailing again across the ocean with a hand of opportunity. Just tickets